Namaste. My name is Neeraj Shrestha. Today we gather here in regards to Nepali Culture and Spiritual Center's project phase 2.0, which we're about to begin. And at this stage, we have asked for or called for the bid for the design of the project that we're about to initiate, 2.0. So we had various questions from a lot of prospective bidders in regards to this project because of the complexity of this project and one of a kind that we're building in the United States. So for this, we have here in the studio today, Swoyambhu, Shakya, who will be our host, and then also Jubin, who will also be a co-host of this program today. And we have Jubin Gimire, who is also a IT coordinator for NCSC, and he will be answering in regards to how the bids will be submitted, how it will be processed, and if anybody have any technical questions in regards to this project. And we have our community member and also engineering team who is leading our engineering team for this project, Prabin Casey. I would like Swoyambhu to go ahead and start this program today.
Okay. Thank you, all of you. We have a few questions. And we have been hearing a lot about NCSC and Pashupati and Buddha Stupa construction. And also people, general public, they also have a lot of questions. So I have a few questions over here regarding the NCSC. So can you explain what is Nepalese Culture and Spiritual Center in NCSC?
Thank you, Swoyambhu. Definitely. Nepali Culture and Spiritual Center it's a nonprofit organization. We also have, right now, we have a community center. That building is owned by NCSC, and we also have a temporary temple inside it. So basically, NCSC is like a home away from home for our Nepali community who's living here in North Texas. And we are based in Euless, Texas, and our goal is very simple. Look, to preserve our culture and our spirituality, and also pass it on to the next generations. As we all know, we're from Nepal, and our community is very diverse. We're serving mostly in Nepalese community. We have mostly Hindus and Buddhists that comes to our community center and temple. But this is not about religion alone. This is about more of a, how to bring all the community together into one place and let everybody practice the faith they believe in. And now we are in phase 2. Phase 1 was our community center that currently stands over there. The phase 2 this is what our real vision, we have envisioned for past 15, 20 years. And we're moving from a temporary setup to a permanent campus. It will include the Pashupatinath, the temple that is from Kathmandu, Nepal, and Swoyambhu Mahachaitya, which is a Buddhist stupa that is also from Kathmandu, Nepal. And we're also building a Garbhagriha, a congregation hall, a Dhamma hall, and a satal, which is a gazebo. So we will talk about this in broad, exactly what satal is, what Pashupatinath temple looks like, what it is all about, and the Buddhist stupa. Again, this is just not the construction, this is our identity, and we're trying to, base that identity into our legacy. Thank you.
So as you said, the existing building is the phase 1, right?
That's correct. That which we already completed.
So we are building the project 2.0 is the Dhamma hall, Swoyambhu Mahachaitya Stupa and Garbhagriha and Pashupatinath temple, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And I have another question. I heard about the PDC.
Okay.
What is the PDC committee and what are the selection criteria for the bid?
Sure. Selection criteria, that is something Prabin and Jubin will address it. But let me explain what PDC is. PDC is a committee that was created by NCSC Board of Trustees. So PDC stands for Planning, Design, and Construction Committee, and it is responsible for making sure that the project is done the right way. And also, we're just right here. PDC is not reviewing the bids or just collecting the bids. We are the entire guiding process for this entire project, from design to execution to completion. And then I just want to give a clear message to everybody. We are not selecting the bids based on the lowest price. We're looking at the experience of the bidders. We're also looking at their technical capabilities, their understanding of the codes that is required in state of Texas and city of Euless. And also, most important thing is cultural understanding, right? So, because this project is not just technical, uh, this have a very profound, deep meaning for our community.
Right. Okay. So, can you describe the Pashupatinath temple and what does it look like and how big it will be?
So this temple, the Pashupatinath temple, is the heart of the project.
Okay.
Look, it is inspired by the original Pashupatinath temple in Kathmandu, which is one of the most sacred place for Hindus, even for Hindus from all around the world. And it will follow very traditional pagoda style with the layered roof and carved woodwork and detailed metal work will be done, and also brick wall works are also included on it. It will be approximately, I will say, between 74 to 75 feet tall. It will make, definitely, it's a major landmark in our campus. From design point of view, this is the most complex part of the project. And the stupa will come back, and this, I will talk more about the stupa later.
Yeah, I was about to ask you the question regarding the Buddha stupa and
Sure.
the Swoyambhu stupa. And could you explain what is the Buddha stupa and what is the cultural and spiritual significance? And also, I have another question: is what is the Dhamma hall? You already explained about the Dhamma hall, but people didn't understand what the Dhamma hall means, right? So, and how does it different from the congregation hall?
Sure, definitely. Look, this Buddhist stupa, which is again inspired by Swoyambhu Mahachaitya in Kathmandu, Nepal, right? This is equally important as Pashupatinath temple for our Buddhist community.
Right.
See, the stupa, I mean, it represents peace, reflection, enlightenment, and it is, this will be visible. This will be also one of the most visible landmark that we're building in our campus. So the Dhamma hall, let me explain what Dhamma hall is. Dhamma hall is itself a different component. So we are building 5 different components right now, right?
Yeah.
So one is Pashupatinath temple, and right adjacent to Pashupatinath temple is the Garbhagriha. The Pashupatinath itself will have a Garbhagriha, and then we're also building right next to it a congregation hall. This will be for Pashupatinath itself. Within Pashupatinath temple, there are 3 components. One is Pashupatinath temple itself, and another one is the Garbhagriha for whatever the deities that we have currently in the temple will be housed in there. And then the congregation hall will follow, right? So that part is Pashupatinath, Garbhagriha, and congregation hall. Now, Dhamma hall itself is a separate building that it will be right next to the stupa itself. So in there, this Dhamma hall will be basically for the, meditation and Buddhist ceremonies and stuff like that. So Sakya Muni that we currently have inside the temple will be housed inside the Dhamma hall.
Right.
So itself, it's a separate building next to the stupa. And so again, congregation hall will be used for, special events like, like Sivaratri and our special, occasions, festivals and stuff like that, when we have more devotees coming to the temple. And for Dhamma hall, it's again, Dhamma hall will be for prayers, meditation, and Buddhist rituals that will be performed inside.
Thank you for mentioning about Dhamma hall and congregation hall. So apart from those, we also want to know what the gazebo or also satal is included. Why is it included in the master plan and the design scope?
So satal is very simple, but it does have a very profound meaning in terms of structure. So in Nepal, it's a place. Usually, it's in a public area where people come, sit, rest, and connect with each other. So this is including this here makes the camp, the entire place makes more nature and alive, not just formal, but part of the everyday life. So people will come, congregate outside. It's for social gathering.
Actually break लिनु पर्ला जस्तो छ यो सुरु भयो Thank you, Neeraj ji. So this question is for Prabin ji. So what is the scope and sorry, फेरि एकचोटि गरौँ है त Thank you, Neeraj ji. So this question is for Prabin ji. What is the scope and the site plan?
Thank you for your question. So phase 2, we are requesting for engineering design bid for site plan preparation. The site plan will consist of structures which is Pashupatinath Temple, Swoyambhu Stupa, Congressional Hall, and Dhamma Hall, plus the gazebo stall. So these are the amenities which has to be included in our site plan. So the part of AE team will have to provide a bid package for site plan and all detailed design for all these amenity.
Okay. So let's say if someone has to bid for this, what is NCSC looking as far as architectural and engineering firms? What do you want in the designs, and what are the 5 major components that you want in the design of phase 2?
Yeah, so in phase 2, primarily we will have to have a site plan, and like I mentioned, there are 5 components. So the Pashupatinath Temple, which is inspired by Pashupatinath Temple back in home in Kathmandu. So it is inspired by that. So all the detailed design has to be included in a construction document, all the way from starting from design all the way to the construction document. It has to be included on that one. Similarly, with the stupa also, it is inspired by our Somnath back home in Kathmandu. So all the detailed design has to be included on it. Now, moving to gazebo and stall, those has to be blending with all 2 of these monumental structures, which can represent our Nepali culture as well. Now, there are 2 other amenities that we are looking at is Dhamma Hall and also Garbhagriha. So both of those will also be similar to Nepali culture, which is going to reflect, and from start to finish, it has to go through all the process and detailed design all the way to the construction document.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Sure.
So, a lot of people might be kind of like question is like, okay, how do you guys design this temple and stupa, right? So we do have conceptual design for Pashupatinath and the Swoyambhu Mahachaitya with all the components to it. So we will provide that to the prospective bidders. So just to make clear that we do have a conceptual design for temple itself and then the stupa. So it will clarify exactly what components it will be incorporated.
So what you mean by is like it will be provided to the selected bidder once the selection process is completed, and when they get into the actual document production, they will have this document in hand that we will be providing them, right?
Definitely. So those people who have registered and have access to the folder, we will have that in the folder. And this is the reason we're also doing this, FAQ session, right? So the printed version of this FAQ will be also provided in the same folder. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabin and Neeraj, for clarifying this question. And I think this question goes to, Neeraj. So which 2 structures are prioritized for all the construction and why?
So again, like Prabin said, right? So these are the 5 different, I will say, the buildings or components that we're building, right? So we are staging that accordingly, right? So we're planning to build the stupa and the satal first, which is the gazebo. The reason is, number one, it's simpler to construct these 2, and also and then this can start serving our community right away, once it's completed. And this also will help us to show progress, what we're doing with this project, and this will keep the community engaged while we are building the larger structures are being built at the same time.
Okay, I want to add one more question on that. How do you describe the overall design, vision, and what should this campus feel like when complete?
So those people who have never been to Pashupatinath and Swoyambhu, it'll be hard to imagine, but let me put it this way. Once this is completed, once you walk to our campus, it'll be very peaceful and authentic. At the same time, you will feel the vibe that you'll feel once you go to Pasupat Chhatra. I'm not talking just about the Pashupatinath temple itself, the Pasupat Chhatra itself. That's how you're going to feel. And the same thing you'll feel when you walk into the Swoyambhu Mahachaitya. Even though it's a Chaitya and the Pashupatinath temple itself, but there are lots of other small components that comes within it. So you'll feel that vibrant, Nepali temple places where you go. And then, but at the same time, right? Yes, we are trying to, inspired by the architecture of Nepal and everything, but at the same time, we got to make sure that this is safe for our community. This is accessible and fully functional, right? At the same time, with the modern space here in the United States. So the balance between those two are very critical and important.
I think it would be really nice if we can, feel that vibrancy of Pashupatinath and Swoyambhu in Dallas Metroplex. So, Prabinji, how does NCSC want to incorporate these traditional architecture with the modern structural systems?
So, so basically, what we are looking into is these are two monumental structures which reflect our traditional and inspired by the history that we have. Same time, we are looking to have a modern structure system, and the system can be steel structure, concrete structure, but this has to be reflecting our cultural back home. These are two, and just to add a couple of things is the two monumental structure we are talking about, these are also a landmark for UNESCO heritage recognized landmark also. So we are trying to blend these two together and have it in our community here in US.
So to achieve this architectural, do we have as-built drawings in CAD, and must the architectural and engineering firms conduct their own geotechnical investigation for this project?
Yes, we do have as-built drawings, and we will provide to the selected, once the selection committee will select potential bidder, they will get the as-built CAD that we have in our log. On top of the geotechnical, regarding the geotechnical question, yes, we do have a geotechnical report from phase 1 that we will also provide to them. But at the same time, since these are very critical structure, we would encourage all the AE firm to include the geotechnical, that should be done by themselves as well.
Do you also have a survey in CAD?
Yes, we do have a survey topography. Yes, we do have in CAD, and that will again it will be provided to all AE firm who are potential bidder or selected bidder.
To achieve this, what foundation and framing systems are specified for these structures?
So these are the structures. Our Pashupatinath temple and stupa. These are the tallest structure that we have among all those 5 amenities. These need to be designed very carefully, critically. That's why I'm also requesting AE to have the geotechnical, and whatever the geotechnical investigation suggests, they need to follow that. But me being as a design engineer professional, I would say any deep foundation that's going to support all the loads, that's going to transfer safely, that will be the best route to go.
Got it. And what are the wind load design requirements, and why do they matter for this 74-foot long pagoda?
Yeah, so definitely all these design form that they have to be acquainted with the building code adopted by City of ULS. City of ULS has adopted International Building Code, and that reflects that wind load also. In North Texas, we have significant wind loads, and our structure being the tallest structure up to 74 feet, these has to be designed. All the component cladding has to be considered to design and register all the wind load up to that design speed. Basically, it is a building code requirement, and they will have to follow it.
Okay. What is deflection control and why is it so important in this
Yeah.
project? Can you answer that, Prabin?
Yeah, this is part of design criteria that we are trying to put in our packet. Is one of the reasons is all our spiritual monumental structures are coming, which is reflecting our Nepali cultural and heritage components. All these components are cladding items, and these are very handcrafted, and it is very critical, and then there are a lot of process and significant work has to be put on. So we want to make sure that this component does not crack or does not deflect or does not see any significant based on the deflection. So we want to keep our deflection criteria very tight so that we can minimize those visible or we want to say irrepressible component cladding that we're going to bring from back home.
Okay, Prabinji, I wanna ask one question on that. So you guys maintaining the traditional materials, like a brick, wood, stones, copper, and other kind of, is there any kind of what kind of the scope is called?
So if I understand correctly, all these items, basically we will have all the component cladding, including copper cladding for roof, for all the wood, tikizal, right?
Yeah, it's a carving.
Carving, so wood carving,
Yeah.
all those component cladding, yes. So we want our AE form to include all those component cladding items, and when they present design document, we would like to have a catalog with the assembly drawings. So in that way, whatever we do back home, it can be easily. The three things that we would like to see is the weight that they are using. The second thing will be handling, because this has to be shipped all the way from back from Nepal.
Right.
And then third criteria will be how we can assemble. So we would like to see some catalog or assembly drawings that AE need to be putting together for all these component cladding items.
So to maintain all these, is there any kind of like a Texas license or is any required for this project, or what code governs this project, like a IBC, a local ULS code, or both?
Yeah, thank you for this code question, because there are a lot of questions that came in. So since our project is located in Euless, Texas, all the design discipline has to have their individual design discipline license registered in the state of Texas. For example, architect has to register in architectural discipline, same as structural and MEP. So all these has to be registered in the state of Texas.
Oh, okay.
Regarding code, like I said earlier, City of Euless is following International Building Code 2021, and all this building has to comply with International Building Code 2021. Plus, if there is any city amendment, they have to follow that, right?
Yes.
So who is the responsible to get the permit?
So any selected AE firm, when I say AE, architecture and engineering firm, they are responsible for coordinating all the city submittals and also permitting. So all the way from that. If you want to add something there.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, everything that have to be be done by the city have to be it's part of the bidder's responsibility at the same time, right? Anything to do with the design, right? To get it approved and sealed and stamped by the city, yes, it is part of the whoever the design team is, it's their responsibility.
So this is not just a structural building, but also something that's habitable, right? So what MEP systems are required across these buildings and buildings in the campus?
Yeah. So based on all these 5 components for phase 2, what we see is there are different purposes, different use. Now the Pashupati temple that we have, so that has to be designed based on MEP requirement and also acoustic, because there are a lot of people coming in praying. Same time, we have Garbhagriha. So Garbhagriha, there is a lot of mass community people coming and praying. So that has certain requirement on the sound and acoustic system. Now regarding Dhamma Hall, it is more like a meditation place where people come. So that will be more low ambient type of design requirement. So those are the things that we will have to design per. And then there are MEP code that AE has to follow. Now regarding Swoyambhu stupa, that is not habitable. So probably, but still, we would like to we would like to design that based on any MEP requirement for non-habitable as well. Now stall, that is more place where there is more like social get-together, sitting down, relaxing, talking to friends, family. That is more open structure, but it has to comply with bare minimum MEP requirement, if there is any.
Also, do you have acoustic design requirements? And if so, what are those? And why are they usually detailed for a religious facility like this?
Yeah, that's a very important and challenging question for acoustic engineer. But same time, what I like to put together is we have all these 5 structure, and it has different use and different purposes. Some has more mass people coming and praying together. Same time, more like a Dhamma hall, it is for more meditation and ambient peace. So those are the 2 things. Based on the use, it has to be designed based on that. So that is a bit of challenge, but I think AE will explore that and do a good design requirement on it.
Okay, Prabinji, what occupancy classification applies to the assembly spaces?
So what we did is this is the place where most of the people, assembly type, people come and gather. So we generalize and put it under assembly group B type. And probably that will be and also AE is open to look into the code. But when we generalize, probably we'll go with the assembly type B, assembly group type B.
So why is lightning protection listed for every structure on the campus?
Okay, so these are like 2 monumental structures that we have are the tallest ones. And those are going roughly about 74 feet from the grade level or maybe the pedestal. In our North Texas, there are a lot of lightning happening. And since all these are, all this design and all the materials are coming, all the cladding materials are coming from very, very special way we design, we build, and we come here, assemble. So we want to make sure if there is any faulty coming in, we tap in before. So we would like to have electrical engineer look into that. But we want to emphasize these are very special type of structures, so we want to make sure we take care good.
Yeah, and Prabin, you already, I think, mentioned the Buddhist stupa considered as a habitual structure. I mean, if yes, and how does that affect its code requirements?
So stupa, in our case, stupa, we are not considering habitable space, but Since it is also one of the tallest one. It goes up to 74 feet. So we would like to, like AE, to design and transfer all the loads, wind loads, component cladding loads coming in, and safely transfer to the foundation. But it is we are not considering as habitable, at least for the stupa.
I'll add a little bit more to it. Again, like Prabin had said, right? This is not meant for people to occupy inside, because that's how traditional, Mahachaitya, again, stupas are in Nepal. This stupa, there are various different kind of stupas all over the world, right? So basically the Himalayan stupas, which is also called Mahachaitya, which derives from Himalayas, from Nepal, Bhutan, and surrounding areas, those are inhabitable ones because of their own traditional values, right? I don't want to go in detail with the religious perspective of it, but at the same time, right? Even though this doesn't require proper engineering, but it includes a lot of engineering work within itself, right? It's a structure, again, wind guts and the seismic, design to it. So it's important that whoever is the design team is, they understand the traditional value at the same time, technical aspects of it. So that's exactly what it is, right, Prabin?
Yeah. Yes.
So I have a question for Jivanji. So when a proposal is submitted, how is the proposal scored? Can you walk us through how is it scored and what are the 8 criterias that it has?
Yep. So we have a selection committee that has been already formed, and they are working with this proposal, like they are working on their structure. We already defined 8 criteria, and that has been given to all the bidders that is included in our folder. And the selection committee, each and every member of the selection committee, when they go through it, they will score based on all these 8 criteria. The 8 criteria are from qualification. It will take the heavy weight on it. And then we have the relevant experience. Have you worked on, what we mean by relevant experience doesn't mean that you have built the temple, right? That we can,
Exactly.
it can be anything like church, or if you have built any complex structure that can help on this project, and that will be another heavy weight on here. And then there's another technical approach. What are the technical approach that you are taking? Do you have the depth understanding of the technical complexity of this project, right? That is the third most important part. And then, of course, the finance and value and fees comes handy, and that's another important part of it. That's the fourth one. And then we have the project management and schedule. Why we are taking that in very seriously is because we have a limited time and we want to get this out and we want to keep moving. The momentum is already here, so that is will be considered in the part of this selection criteria. Do you have the realistic schedule? We don't want somebody submit. We'll get it done in 15 days. We know how realistic it is, so that will be also considered in there. And then the other part is the core and regulation expertise. Do you know the codes? Are you registered in Texas? Are you registered? Do you have affiliation with ULIS, city of ULIS? Those will make sense. Do you know IBC codes, Texas codes, all those kind of things? And then the credibility and stability of the firm. How financially healthy is your firm? Do you have the insurance? Insurance is required for this, right? Those are things, another thing. And the cultural sensitivity. The reason we need the cultural sensitivity is because we are blending this with the modern technology and our cultural values that we are bringing in here. And this also requires the components, as Niraj and Prabinji already mentioned. We are bringing the components here and we are assembling them together. So it requires all that technical depth and cultural understanding of it. So those are the selection criteria.
So we went over the selection criteria. So something that the bidder might have in mind is, Is there a page limit, or do you have a minimum page requirement for these kind of proposals that they submit?
No, there is a standard way of submitting the proposal. Most of the AE firms should know all of those. But one thing I want to mention is we on our email server we can only receive 10 MB of attached document. You will be submitting this through the email, and if you have anything bigger than 10 MB, they can submit through, like they can upload somewhere in the drive, and they can provide us the link that we can download. So there's no limit on the sizes or pages.
Okay, thank you for mentioning the 10 MB limit. So where do these firms submit their proposal, and what is the exact deadline they need to submit this proposal in?
So our deadline has been already mentioned in the initial form that they have filled out to get the access to this thing. It was the April 25th. By April 25th, they have to submit it. The way they want to submit, we already have a form that has been developed, and we will be providing that, right, Niraj?
Yes.
And that they will be filling out all those details, and they will send us through email. So the form will be coming to us through email. As I mentioned earlier, if they cannot attach things, they can provide us the link, but the email has to be sent to the PDC. So make sure pdc@ourncsc.org. And if there's any technical problems, right, submitting during the submission or getting access to the documents, they can send us an email to tech@ourncsc.org.
Got it. So you mentioned, can you mention it again? Who do they reach out to if they have any questions or anything they want to know before submitting the bid?
Of course. So the main point of contact is pdc@ourncsc.org, and if it is related to the document designing or anything like that, that is the email. Again, pdc@ourncsc.org. But if they have any submission or technical questions, they can reach out to tech@ourncsc.org.
Okay, I think this question goes to Prabin. So, what is the likelihood of getting an extension of the due date of the proposal?
At this time, whatever due date has set up, probably that will be the due date. But regarding extension, I don't know. Selection committee will comment, but I think Niraj had something to add on.
Sure, definitely. Look, we do understand a lot of prospective bidders have questions, right? I mean, this is, again, looking at the complexity of this project itself, right? There are a lot of moving parts. We got to put it together. So if there comes to the situation where, majority of the bidders says, you know what, hey, we need some more time. At that time, again, the bid selection committee will decide, hey, you know what, maybe we should go ahead and give 10 days extension. So, but we will make sure that every single person will be notified. We'll put this publicly. The email will go to all of the prospective bidders plus whoever is on our database. So we'll make sure that this will be, sent to everybody beforehand.
Thank you.
And if we decide to do it, extension, we'll do it prior to April 25th for sure.
Okay, I think this question for Neeraj also.
Okay.
So, what does NCSC mean by value versus just lowest price?
Look, for NCSC, right, value is just not being numerical digits in terms like, the lowest bid or being cheapest, right? It's about doing it right. Choosing a wrong design team just because of a lower price can lead to a bigger problem later, right? So we are looking for partners, who understand both the technical and cultural aspect and importance of this project. So yes, does the dollar amount matters? Yes, it does. At the end of the day, we are, nonprofit organization, right? Every single penny that we're spending came out of our community who donated to it, right? So we want to make sure that that does have a value to it. But at the same time, we cannot compromise on certain things, aspect of what it's supposed to be and what it should be and what we're envisioning.
Okay. So
Yeah, I want to add to that. That is why it leads to those 8 selection criteria. We want to make sure that it's not only dollar amount that that will be part of the selection. It is a broader aspect that we are looking. That's why we have that 8 selection criteria.
okay, so that means can NCSC cancel the RFP, request for proposal, and under what circumstances would be?
So again, look, NCSC does reserve the right to adjust or cancel the entire, request for proposal. Okay, so it all boils down to one thing: if this will have an impact on our long-term, decision for the project, only at that time it will be. But we will make sure that all of our community and everybody is fully aware of why we're doing it. But yes, again, to answer your question, technically, yes, NCSC does reserve the right to cancel the entire thing. Yes, it does.
So going back to Praveen ji, so let's say there's a architectural firm or an engineering firm who's really excited about this project, but they have never designed a temple before. How do they present their portfolio to NCSC for this project?
Thank you for the question again. This is very challenging question at the same time because AE firm or architecture firm, they want to bid the Nepali NCSC project. Same time, they may not have experience with the religious aspect, but if they have any community project they have done, if they have done any church project. For us, what matters is their qualification, their teamwork, and the way they communicate, the research based on, because every project it needs a research, it needs a good qualified team. So as long as they can present their qualification, teamwork, and provide some references for the community project they have been involved and successfully executed, I think that will be similar to what we are looking here in terms of references and experiences.
And as far as the pre-proposal is concerned, how are we looking it to be structured?
So regarding fee structure, it is a lump sum project, but same time, if they can break down based on the discipline, and also if they can break down based on the project submittal, that will help us to manage those fee structures. But it is a lump sum project.
So apart from the things we have already mentioned in the proposal, right, are we also looking for references? And if so, how many references are we expecting or looking for in a proposal?
Yeah, definitely. Reference is always good because it reflects the history that you have done. Your project team has successfully excelled. So in my opinion, having references always helps out to present their past history. I would say minimum 3.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. I think 3 should be minimum references.
But they can list as many
Yeah.
they want. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have a question for you again.
No, I'm having fun. So.
Okay. So, what documents should be? What documents should forms download before writing the proposal?
So there was an interest form that was that had a download link. I believe even there's a five download link that there is.
Yes, so we already have this access to the Google Drive where we have all the documents, and to access that they have to fill out the form. Once they fill out the form, they will get the access to that on the same email they provided on that form. I just want to stress that out again. And the email that is provided on that form will be provided the access to that folder. So if you are trying to get access to that folder and you provide company email and are trying to access through the Google Gmail or something, then you will not be able to access them. So that is very important.
One thing what I like to emphasize is this is fully bid proposal for phase two, where all the five structure that we mentioned, engineering team has to provide that. Same time, we are also asking AE firm to have a master site plan, because master site plan is part of phase two. Now, downloading those documents and getting acquainted, that is, I think, that going to help out understanding the scope, and also probably this podcast that or talk show that we are doing, probably this can add more values as well. So I would encourage every AE form to download and go through those. And if there's any question, there is an email to.
Yeah, they can email if there's a technical issue. They can email it tech@rncsc.org.
Okay, so what deliverables must the final design package include?
Okay, so all this design packet, it will be based on the phases, and once the selection committee select and the AE form is selected, there's a phase submittal packet that's gonna come in. But entire packet will have to have all the way from maybe 30% all the way to the construction document, and also part of that is all the permitting has to be done through AE, whoever is coming. So they need to understand it is a design from start to finish, all the way to creating the construction document.
Okay.
So, June, you have already mentioned, the 8 criterias and stuff. So, can you let us know after the proposal is submitted, right? What actually happens? Do we just go to the 8 criteria, or is there any communication that's going to happen between the people who are proposing and the selection team? How does that look like?
Yes. So once that this proposal will be submitted on before the deadline, after the deadline is passed, and then the PDC will conduct an initial completeness of this proposal. They will review. PDC will review if all the proposal has all the documents that are required and all that. Once that is verified and completeness is verified, that will be passed to the selection committee. The selection committee will go through all the proposal. They will study. They will do all the reviews and all that. And once if they feel like they need to talk to these firms who have submitted the proposal, they will have the conversation with them. And it will be entirely on selection committee from that onward. No PDC or any other committee will be involved. It will be the selection committee who will be involved directly, and they will shortlist the proposals based on all these selection criteria. Once they shortlist, then they will have maybe top 3 bidder, and then they will go through the different process. Neeraj, can you add that, like how we go to the PDC and then it has to go through BOT and all that process, right?
Sure. Let me explain a little bit, clarify, what this selection committee is. So we have 9 people in selection committee from different, from disciplines, and they all are independent. Yeah, they are part of community, yes, of course, but they are not related to temple, committees or anything else, right? So their whole purpose is to evaluate all the bids as being independent as possible, right? So like Jubin just said, once the PDC receives all the bids, they'll compile it, we'll review it, and then we'll send it to the committee. And committee does have its own guidelines and scoring system, right? So they will follow that. And then from that, once the shortlisted candidates, let's say, we received 20 bids, for example, right? 8 of them stand out. So probably at that time, they will probably conduct their due diligence, and they might even schedule a virtual call with prospective bidders, and if they have any questions or they want to do some sort of interview or something like that. So that's completely up to the selection committee. Yes.
So, Prabinji, once the bidder is selected in this process, what are the priorities of this project?
Yes. Thank you for this question. I think I want to emphasize once the AE has been selected, out of 5 components, we would like to have a stupa and satal, which is gazebo, as a priority project and get the permitted for that particular one because we are on a time crunch and we have a certain deadline that we would like to meet. So out of 5 components, again emphasizing, we would like to have a stupa and satal as a priority submittals. Right?
Yes. First stupa, then subtle, and then we'll move on to Pashupatinath temple. And then after that, we're going to go to Garbhagriha and the congregation hall. And then we'll come back to the Dhamma hall. So that's how the sequence will be.
So that's how the construction sequence will be, and we would like
That's
to
exactly
write
how we
something
want to
like-
do the design sequence too. Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
So we went through a lot of things just now. So a possible bidder might have a lot of questions in their mind, right? So what is one most important thing or the most important thing that they have to think of while putting this proposal?
Well, again, this is my request and advice at the same time, right? It's very simple. Look, review everything carefully. Understand not just what we're building, but why we are building, right? That's the most important, part of it. And if your proposal shows that understanding, look, you'll definitely stand out. There's no other question on that. It is just, again, let me re-emphasize, this is not only a construction project. It's a community expressing, itself through the architecture, and again, like, we're always available. You have any questions, we're just an email away. So any questions you guys have, like Jubin has said, multiple times, you can email it to us. We'll respond to you right away. And again, Jubin, Swoyambhu, Jubin, Prabin, thank you very much for holding this, podcast. So that I hope that potential bidders have a lot of their questions answered. Again, there might be several other questions that we have not covered on this session. So again, we encourage you to email us. We'll try our best to answer any questions you guys have. Again, I would really like to thank and our sincere appreciation to Namaste Furniture for holding this event for us in their place. Pallav bhai, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It's an honor and privilege to be here.
Yep.
Thank you.